Here is a Lenovo T430s laptop. This is what I would consider to be one of the last really tough computers that Lenovo made. These were from the early 2010s, 2012, 2013, somewhere in that frame. And these are pretty good computers. I do like this model. It's from that era where the decline of quality met the increase in performance before things got really crummy. So you ended up with a really solid machine. This one's got a couple of issues with it. The corner here has cracked, and this is extremely sharp. And the battery is having a problem. It doesn't stay in place quite right. If you pick it up from one corner or something, it loses connection. So I was just going to scrap this one out. It's not worth the time to fix it. These are common enough. But I've never seen one of these with like a really major mechanical failure before. Like a screen broke or hinges broke or keyboard broke or anything like that. I've seen the drives give out or the memory gets corrupt or something like that, but I've never seen a really major failure on these things. So before I scrap it out, I figured we should take it through some tests and see just how much abuse it can take. I'm going to replicate some scenarios which are going to be exaggerated for comic effect, but they're real world scenarios that I've seen happen before. It's ridiculous. People are just reckless with the equipment sometimes. But I don't think that anything that we do in this video is going to really damage this thing. I think it's going to hold up to everything I throw at it.
Ugh, I hate computers!
And it still works perfectly fine. Screen didn't break, the hinges didn't break. It kind of fell on the power cord, I think, so that got a bit scuffed up, but it still works. I think it's a little bit bent too, but it's still working. And it's charging up. So it survived that totally fine. Seems like my camera took more abuse from that. What's wrong with the focus on you? Well, anyway, so it passed test number 1, no problem.
We have some damage here. It looks like the mouse button fell off. And that is the old camera. The new camera is over there. I suspect this will go right back on with no problem. It's kind of an odd thing to have come off. Power is still working. This camera seems okay, or as okay as it's going to be. Now there's a real error on the screen. Well, anyways, if it wasn't froze, you know what might have happened is the drive may have turned itself off, because this has a rotating drive, and I think in theory it's supposed to shut itself off when it detects some kind of sharp motion. So let's do a reboot here and see if everything comes up as normal.
That broke the hard drive, which I'm not surprised by, because it's a rotational drive, so if something was going to break, that's what would break, because those are not meant to withstand any motion. I'm not going to replace that for the rest of the video. We'll just do the rest of the video without the drive. The power port looks like it got a little bit screwed up. Something's missing in there, but it does still work, so for all intents and purposes, it's still going. Okay, let's see, the card reader came out. That just goes right back in. Still taking power.
Still power's on. Screen popped apart there a bit, but it went right back together. Same thing here at the top. There's really still nothing wrong with it. What was that? Well, that just came out. I'm not sure what that is. That may have nothing even to do with the computer. Well, it still works. When you do a liquid spill, the proper protocol is to cut the power immediately. So that's what I'll do. And as long as it dries out, everything should work fine afterwards. Oh no! I'm gonna pull the battery too. And then right now it's still working. Make sure that doesn't get too wet. I would be most concerned about the screen getting screwed up from this kind of damage, because you get liquid in the screen and then it's not going to look right. Try to get all the water out of there as much as I can. Now, if this was something I was concerned about, I would not put the battery back in for a couple of days. And there it goes. Still working.